Who do you think is competent for this job? Whom do you think is competent for this job? Who do you think competent for this job? Whom do you think competent for this job? I don't know, it's confusing, right? So let's clear it. Hi Wobin, so today we'll talk about where to write who and where to write whom. And it's rather very simple. The only thing you need to understand, the only thing you need to actually remember is that who is the subjective case and whom is the objective case. What I mean is that whenever you require a subject, you will use who, and whenever you require an object, you will use whom. So, before, going back to those sentences, let's break these three sentences. And since I'm the fan of the fastest man alive, we'll talk about the second sentence. Barry runs. So, in this sentence, Barry is the subject and runs is the verb. In the third sentence, Barry called Iris. Barry is the subject, called is the verb, and Iris is the object. In the first sentence, Alan eats pizza. Alan is the subject, eats is the verb, and pizza it's the object. So we are done with breaking these three sentences. So I think that you can notice that the subjects are associated with a certain verb. Alan eats, Barry runs, Barry called. And the objects, they don't have any verb associated with them. So that's the key point here, that subjects or the subjective cases have verbs with them and objective cases or objects do not. And so with these two concepts, we are ready, to answer those two questions now. Coming back to them. So in this, let's break these now. Okay, so this do here is called the helping verb. In both these cases, the do is the helping verb. Now let's focus on the first sentence. As I told, we just have to focus on, that the blank, do we require a subject there or an object? So we need to, see that is there any verb that doesn't have any subject to it in the remaining sentence. So let's, break it down. The you here, it's the subject, right? And the verb to this subject is think. Now this is, as I've mentioned, is a static verb. Competent, it is an object. For, it's a preposition. And anything after the preposition is always a subject. I'm sorry, is an object. So this job is an object. So let's see. You subject has the verb think associated with it. We have this static verb here. We have this competent, which is an object. We have a preposition for, and then we have an object job. So in this whole sentence, we still have a verb which has a subject and which would be right here, the who. So in this sentence, the answer would be who, because we have this static verb which doesn't have any, subject associated to it in the remaining part of the sentence. So we have this, free verb that requires a subject, and that's where we use who. Okay, so let's think about the second sentence. We have this you here, this thing, this competent for this job. In this sentence, we, because it's, kind of the same sentences. So we know that this sentence, we know the breaking of this sentence. It's a subject, the thing is the verb, competent is the object, this is the object, this is the preposition. We do not have any additional verb that requires any other subject for it. So here we have the objective case. In the blank, we have the objective case, so we have whom here. So the first sentence was, who do you think is competent for this job? And in the second sentence, the answer would be, whom do you think competent for this job? And uh, keeping aside the technicalities of it, let's say it this way. In the first sentence you're saying, who do you think is competent for this job? The answer would be, I think that Wally is competent for this job. In the second sentence, in the second question actually, whom do you think competent for this job? I think Wally as competent for this job. So the you can have that basic sense of understanding, that is it the subjective case or is it the objective case. So really that's all there is about who versus whom. And I have some practice questions for you. So what I like, you guys to do is pause the video and answer these, and then resume it. And I'll just count to one, two, three, and now answer. Okay, Verben. So the answers are as follows. Whom are you meeting? Who should I tell him has called? Whom are you talking to? Who do you think will win the match? So I hope you got all of these correct. So now let's, analyze these one by one. So the first sentence was, whom are you meeting? Here, are is the helping verb. You is the subject. Meeting is the verb associated with you. So this blank right here, all it will just have the objective case, and that objective case would be whom, because we do not have any free verb in here. This verb meeting is associated with the subject you. So coming to the second sentence, we have the should as the helping verb. I is the subject, and the verb for that is tell. Him is the object here. I tell him. So this is the subject I, tell is the verb, him is the object for this subject I, and has called is another verb. So in this sentence, we can see that this has called is the free verb which will be associated to this who. So who should I tell him has called? I subject, is having the verb tell, which has the object him, and this has called verb is free, and it will be associated with the subjective case here, who. So coming to the third sentence, whom are you talking to? And I guess now we can analyze it real quick. Are is the helping verb, you is the subject, has the verb talking, and to again it's a preposition, and that makes much more sense. It clears it even more that this would be the objective case. But in the way that we are analyzing it, there is no free verb right here. So whom are you talking to? I'm talking to, I don't know, any person. I'm talking to Kevin. So yeah. And in the last sentence, who do you think will win the match? Again, do is the helping verb, you is the subject. So we have do as the helping verb, you is the subject, think is the verb associated to the subject you, will is another verb, will win the match. This the match is an object, and this will win is a verb, a free verb, which will be associated with this who. So we have this verb, this free verb will win, which is associated to the blank. So the blank would be subjective case, and it will have who. So who do you think will win the match? The do is the helping verb, you is the subject, think is the verb that's associated to you, then will win is the free verb that is associated with the blank, the blank that will have a subjective case who, and the match is the object. So again, I think all of these four sentences, I hope that it is clear now. So bye bye.